Hey guys, welcome back to another Skyrim mods video. Today I have some pretty massive mods. Some of them have a bigger download size than the other ones, but all will change the game up of Skyrim in their own unique way. So without further ado, let's dive right in. But before we do, don't forget to endorse mod authors if you find a mod that you like, and leave a like on the video. The first mod bringing us to the Hall of the Vigilant for probably the smallest mod of this video. This mod is called Radiance by Skyrim, featuring a new mace that has a Allied stone, if I said that right, let me know down in the comments, that is slotted into the top of the mace and also the bottom. This mod features 1K textures up to 4K, whichever you choose to download, and for the showcase I am using the 4K version. But before you obtain the Radiance mace, you have to go through a short adventure and quest bringing you to multiple locations where the Stendar Shrine is. In vanilla, this location isn't added by the mod, and after praying, a ghost will appear guiding you on the quest to the next location and then the next one. This quest does have quest markers, but if you just listen to the dialogue of the ghost that you summon every time that you pray at the shrine, you will easily be able to find the next location. But some of the locations are a little harder to get to than other ones, with the Twin Pillars being the very last location that you have to visit, and after that you'll obtain an item called the Radiating Stone, and then you just have to take it back to the Hall of the Vigilant where everything started. From there is another small quest that takes place with a bunch of dialogue that you have to go through. But of course I won't be spoiling everything about this quest mod, but back to the mace at hand, because this mace is pretty useful. You can toggle the light on and off, but if you equipped it, it will also just turn on automatically. You can also have the option to change the light color with certain buttons. And if you think the light is too bright, you can also go through and change the radius that the light activates. But the most useful feature is that with the mod, you can also change it to a two-handed warhammer instead of just being a mace. You can only switch it between two-handed and one-handed with the weapon unequipped, so you won't be doing it in the middle of combat, though that would make it pretty cool. There's no special added features between the two, well of course besides the damage difference with using a two-handed versus a one-handed weapon. And aside from the light changes that this mace comes with, it is technically unenchanted, but it does have a description, and it counts as a silver weapon. So by the time in-game rolls around, this can be the ultimate Daedra killer. Or you can just use it like a lamp and just light up caves if you want to do it that way, but that's pretty boring. Up next we have Sanguine Symphony. This mod is pretty much a complete combat overhaul, well, in terms of how combat feels, adding completely new blood textures and effects while in the midst of fighting, bringing out the brutal side of Skyrim. The new blood splatter is also dynamic, meaning the harder you hit the enemy, the more blood will come out, as well as the blood texture will be darker, and the puddle will also be bigger. But a new cool effect also I wanted to point out is the new puncture effect, which is something I've only seen in this mod. But if you use an arrow, though, usually they bounce off until your archer skill levels up. If you kill an enemy with it or you just hit them for a lot of damage, there will be a dynamic arrow hole in their body and armor changing appearance depending on the type of armor. And these are dynamic because most of the armors I have I don't even know the name of, but Q&D Spid made me download them, so here we are. This mod also has dynamic effects when hitting certain enemies, so hitting armor or just metal enemies like Dwarven Centurion, the enemies will have sparks flying, as well as oil splattering on the floor. But the moment you hit a human enemy in a vulnerable spot, or you just deal tons of damage, blood will begin to flow on impact. There's also a cool effect that I'm not sure is part of vanilla, but if you are low health and you start walking, you'll see little blood droplets dropping on the floor behind you. Though, like I said, I'm not really sure if that is a vanilla effect, but I've never paid attention to it until I started staring at blood because of this mod. So let me know if I'm right about that down in the comments if you noticed that. Otherwise, we're just going to move on to the next cool effect, which some of you usually ask me about. This mod on kill of an enemy also added a new slow motion effect. I used to use the mod Cinematic Kill Cam 2, which people used to ask me about, but this mod includes that feature and does it in a more dynamic way, without the need of an extra ESP to do it. You can configure how it triggers. You can have it trigger on every enemy death like I have, or turn it so it only triggers when the last enemy dies. But I love cinematic combat, so I have it turned on for every single one. You can also add a knockback effect to the death also, just so it makes your character seem stronger. The main reason I recommend this mod over Cinematic Kill, besides all the other features, is that mod triggers multiple times if you hit a dead enemy, but this mod works so that only the slow motion is activated when you kill the enemy, and it doesn't stack so you're not slowed down for 5 to 10 seconds. Also, another small part I wanted to mention is that the blood drop effect have a 3D appearance depending on the surface, so it may use complex parallax, but it isn't stated on the mod page, so I won't say that it is. Maybe the textures are just that good. And as I mentioned before, everything about this mod can be changed in the MCM. You can disable some effects if you prefer, or keep everything enabled. And like I also mentioned before, everything enabled with this mod is pretty much like a complete combat overhaul. So I definitely recommend trying this mod out. Everything compatible and incompatible with this mod is listed on the mod page. But up next, another mod that I highly recommend just in case to combine with that, you need this next mod, Diverse Fourth Unknown Dragons. The biggest issue with Fourth Unknown Dragons, just like in vanilla Skyrim, even though they look absolutely amazing, they have no diversity. There's only 7 different dragon skins. But this mod takes that and adds over 50 different variations, changing different parts of the dragon, from the skin to the scales and even the eyes, making some of them look a little slow to be honest. But it also changes the head completely to make low level dragons look just as tough as the highest level dragons. And with 50 different variations, I highly doubt you'll recognize when you're running into the same one. It'll all look different to you. I do want to point out one thing though, with this version of the dragons, I kind of have Majestic Dragons installed, so they have bigger portions, like the wings, they look a lot bigger. In your Skyrim, they may look a little smaller, so I'll also link that mod down in the description just in case you want to have big dragons just like me. And based on the mod description, this mod will be updated with more variants, but the exact numbers as of now are 40 unique dragon mashups, with the named dragons all having their own unique appearance as well, and 5 to 7 new skins for each vanilla dragon type. So if you really want to mix things up, you can go and grab Diverse Dragons and then add the Game of Thrones dragons for those, and use these for the vanilla dragons just so you have a complete mashup. And even with the new complete looks, every dragon will have some type of thing that lets you know what type of dragon you are fighting, just so you're never confused. But that was pretty much it for today guys. Let me know which one of these mods was your favorite, and hope you enjoyed. Peace and love guys.